A tourist visiting a national park in Thailand happens upon a young woman from China sprawled out near the bottom of a cliff, having clearly tumbled from the top. He's not sure if she's dead or alive, but soon learns that she is miraculously alive. The tourist calls for help, which soon arrives and transports the woman and her husband, who's standing at a distance watching, to the hospital. At the hospital, police begin to question the account of this woman having fallen from the cliff, as she and her husband report. But with no witnesses, they rely on what they're told. Until the woman's time alone with an interpreter changes everything. Welcome back to Crime A to Z, where we detail cases and criminals from their very beginning until well after other reporting ends. Today we'll be talking about the unfathomable case of Wang Nan, the pregnant woman who was pushed off a cliff by her ruthless, cold-blooded husband, and he nearly got away with it. This case triggered a lot of jaw-droppers, so be sure to comment in real time so we can see your reactions, especially during the hospital portion. And don't miss the Z section so you can see with your own eyes the final result of this horrendous incident. Let's get to it. Wang Nan was a success story. Having grown up in China, she finished school and became a wealthy businesswoman trading goods between China and Thailand. She was at the height of her success, having accumulated significant wealth and several real estate properties. Then, in 2017, 30-year-old Wang met the man of her dreams. 31-year-old Yu Xiaodong was incredibly charming. They began dating and he showered Wang with gifts, wrote her poems, and took her on romantic dates. She recalled, "Every morning he knocked at my door and prepared different kinds of breakfast for me. When we hung out, he always paid the bill before I wanted to. He appeared to not only have good taste, but also to be financially independent." Wang fell for him instantly, and the two were married within 2 short months. But very early on in the marriage, problems began to surface. Wang already knew that Yu was for a poor family. But what she didn't know and soon found out was that he had a gambling addiction, was thousands of dollars in debt, and spent 8 years in prison for robbery. As a result of his criminal record, he was unable to get a job. So he remained unemployed throughout their marriage and stayed home playing video games while Wang supported the couple financially. Yu would regularly pressure Wang for money to pay off his gambling debts. And wanting to help her husband turn a new leaf, Wang agreed. She paid off half of his 2 million yuan gambling debt, approximately $319,000 US. It was after that that their relationship began to deteriorate. But despite their problems, 2 years into their marriage, Wang learned that she was pregnant. She was elated. She continued her successful trading ventures. And in June of 2019, the couple traveled from their home in China's southeastern Jiangsu province to Thailand on a business trip to buy Thai products to sell in China. While in Thailand, Yu took Wang to several national parks and seemed to be interested in all of their cliffs. Wang found that odd since Yu had an extreme fear of heights. One of the parks that Yu wanted to visit was Foreseen National Park, which was famous for its majestic rock formations. They headed to the park on June 9, 2019, and that is when the course of Wang Nan's life would change forever. A tourist who was also visiting Foreseen Park encounters Wang laying critically wounded on a trail at the bottom of the cliff. She had been laying in agony for nearly 30 minutes, but miraculously, she was still alive. She'd fallen 34 meters or 111 feet from the cliff above. She and her unborn child were able to survive the deadly fall after her fall was softened by several trees. Emergency personnel and officers were quickly called onto the scene. They were immediately suspicious of Yu, noticing that he was standing at quite a distance from the scene as the emergency crew tended to his wife. They interviewed him to learn what happened. The official story at the time, as reported the next day in the Bangkok Post, was that it was an accident, that Yu left his wife to go use the bathroom. And when he returned, his wife wasn't there. He went to their car to get his phone and call her, but she didn't answer. So he assumed that she'd left some other way, and he began driving away, until he noticed the ambulance speeding along the road. He feared the worst and followed the ambulance, soon learning that his wife had fallen from the cliff. He surmised to police that his wife had passed out from being pregnant and fallen off the cliff. Wang was rushed to the hospital, where they determined that she had broken 17 bones, including in her arm, thigh, collarbone, and knees. She required over 200 stitches, and 100 steel nails were inserted into her body. And because of the large amounts of medications that they needed to administer to Wang, her baby would ultimately not survive. While Wang had fallen into a coma early on, she soon regained consciousness and was aware of the story that Yu had told them about her passing out and falling off the cliff. Wang knew otherwise, but she was helpless. She couldn't explain what really happened because at the Thai hospital, no one understood Mandarin Chinese. And more importantly, Yu never left her side. But she tried anyway. She mustered up as much strength as she could and managed to cry out, "Why did you do this to me?" Yu told her to shut up, and he threatened to finish the job if she did not. She would later recall,
他听到我反驳他了以后，3步并作2步的就走到我的床边上，跟我说：“你闭嘴，不要乱叫，这里没有人听得懂中文。当时没有监控，也没有人证，警察只会把我带走进行询问。那我回来以后一定不会放过你的。我知道这个并不是威胁，这个他是在给我下第2次的死亡通知。我当时立马就闭嘴了。”
Helpless and severely injured, Wang was forced to corroborate Yu's story. Then, just one day after the incident, Yu tried to remove Wang from the hospital and away from people she could divulge the truth to, and most likely finish the job he had started without witnesses. But hospital staff stopped him.
当时他不管不顾医院的强烈反对，他就很疯狂的把我身上所有用来监护体征的，还有包括我脸上的面罩，全部都把我直接拔掉了，推着我移动的病床，就把我强行的往这个医院外面推。当时医院的医护人员看到这个情况以后，全部都站在门口把他拦下来。他显得是非常暴躁，而且非常凶狠的。他就跟医护人员大声的喊，他说我可以签这个离院负责书，他可以为我的生死负责。当时还好被医院的医护人员合力救下。
Eventually, Wang was transported to a different hospital, where Yu was not allowed to visit her. There, she had access to an interpreter, and was finally able to share that Yu tried to kill her. The police were immediately called. And finally, on her 5th day in the hospital, Wang was able to give a full account of the incident to police. It supported their suspicion of foul play based on Yu's distant behavior at the scene, as well as an interpreter overhearing Wang's desperate first scream, asking Yu why he did this to her. She explained that upon Yu's request, the couple had gone to the park to watch the sunrise. They went to the cliff's viewing platform. And as they neared the edge of the platform, Yu grabbed Wang's waist and romantically hugged her from behind. Then Yu, positioning his hand on her back, told her to go to hell, then pushed her to what he was certain would be her death. Wang told officers that she could not tell them her story earlier because Yu would not leave her side. Yu was arrested 2 days later, charged with attempted murder. Once he was arrested, it was discovered that his gambling debts were nearly double what he had claimed they were. Yu pleaded not guilty. During his trial, prosecutors argued that he tried to kill Wang to cash in on her 100 million baht or $2.5 million life insurance policy to pay off his gambling debts. Wang was also convinced that he was motivated by the prospect of inheriting part of both her real estate properties and her life savings. She asked the judge to give Yu the death penalty, considering that he not only killed their unborn baby, but that he caused her life-changing injuries. He ruined her health, her career, her future, her life. Yu was convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment and ordered to pay 1.1 million yuan in compensation, approximately 170,000 US dollars. For months, Wang was confined to a wheelchair. She had to move in with her parents so they could care for her. She underwent numerous surgeries and has spent the past 4 years undergoing intense physical therapy. The difficult and painful journey paid off when, in April of 2023, 35-year-old Wang was able to walk unassisted for the first time in 4 years, without the use of a walker or a cane. Wang shared her experience on the Chinese social media platform Douyin. Yu Xiaodong appealed. It resulted in a second trial which, instead of a standard trial, was simply a review of documents. The result was the judge finding that there was not enough evidence to support intentional murder. And in 2021, he changed the conviction to attempted manslaughter instead and reduced Yu's sentence to just 10 years. It was a huge blow for Wang, who was reminded of the tape recording used in court of a conversation between her and Yu, where Yu had admitted to deliberately pushing her. Wang continued to appeal to the Royal Court of Thailand, and just last month, in June of 2023, they convicted Yu of attempted murder and handed down a final sentence of 33 years. In a cruel gesture by the courts, Wang remained trapped in her marriage because a Chinese court refused to grant her a divorce until Yu's legal appeal against the attempted murder conviction was concluded. With the ruling from the royal court finally handed down, hopefully, her divorce can now be granted. We agree with one of the people who posted a comment on Wang's social media account. That man is not a husband, but a devil. We're so impressed by Wang's determination to overcome such drastic injuries. And we've taken note from her experience. If ever in a problematic relationship, don't go anywhere that has cliffs. What are your thoughts about this case? What would you have done in the hospital if you were in the same situation as Wang? Or even before that? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like how we presented this case, please hit like for us, and definitely hit subscribe so you never miss a single video.